Hey guys, so I'm going to make another bath bomb, and this time I'm going to make it more of in a men's fragrance. What I'm going to be using today is the black tie fragrance oil I got from Wholesale Supplies Plus. I don't know if it's going to focus there or not. Focus, there we go. And it actually smells really good. It's a very clean fragrance. I got two other fragrances from Wholesale Supplies. And one of them I think was kind of a musk, and I kind of like it. I just have to get used to it, I guess. It reminds me of when I went to church when I was younger, and the type of cologne that a lot of the older men would wear. It's just kind of got a very, not pungent, but maybe if you haven't smelled it before, that's what you'd kind of call it, like a pungent smell. But if it's mixed with the other fragrance that I got that's got vanilla in it, actually mellows it out some. So it's not too bad. I got my KitchenAid. And then I have my Epsom salt that I got this in a box at Sam's Club, which you can probably buy a lot in bulk at Costco or Sam's Club, stuff like that. I have my SLSA from Brambleberry. This stuff works really good. I put about a third of a cup because I double the recipe to make the bath bombs. And to make them the bubble bath bombs, of course, use SLSA. There's probably other ways that you might be able to use it to make a bubble bath bomb, but this is the way that I usually use them. And they turn out really well. There's a lot of bubbles and it carries the fragrance really well. So I really like this stuff, and it's inexpensive to get from Brambleberry especially. Let's see here. I got my bag of citric acid. I got this off Amazon. It's the Milliard Kitchen Citric Acid. It's food grade. And then I got a big old bag of baking soda from Amazon as well. I think the baking soda was probably around $13, and the citric acid was probably close to about the same mark at $13. I got a 10-pound bag and a 13.5-pound bag of baking soda. Another thing I like to put in my bath bombs and also my soap now is Bentonite Clay. I got this off Amazon. It was 2 pounds. I can't remember how much this is. I'll probably put it down in the description box just to let you know exactly how much it is. But it's the Wyo Clay, Rock River Healing Clay Bentonite. And it's in a very fine powder. Make sure if you get anything, it's a fine powder unless you want to have specs. Some of my bath bombs that I recently did that are on Etsy, the coconut bath bombs, I kind of mixed them. I mixed the bentonite clay in oils instead of using an alcohol solution to kind of break it up. And I got clumps in it, but it actually looks pretty good in the bath bomb. So if you want to go for more of that, then you can mix it in your oils. I have my 91% isopropyl alcohol spray just to wet down the mixture if it needs to. Sometimes when I put my oils in, I use just my oils to wet it down. But so you don't set off a reaction, the alcohol really helps. With the SLSA in it, I've noticed that, especially when I tried painting on little details, like on my apple bubble bath bomb, the alcohol kind of reacts with it a little bit, but I think it's because it's concentrated in one spot instead of getting mixed in. But it really works well. If you do melt and pour, you probably have this sitting around, and if you use this to kind of prevent soda ash on your cold process soaps, you might have some around as well, and usually most people have it in their households anyways in a medical kit. I have my oil and fragrance mixture here. In it is 0.6 ounces of fractionated coconut oil, 4 ounces of polysorbate 80, 0.2 ounces of vitamin E oil and 0.3 ounces of my black tie fragrance, and 0.4 ounces polysulfate. Yeah, that's it. So, and I have some extra pipette bags that I got through Amazon, and I can't really remember the manufacturer, but everything's in Chinese, so I'll leave a link in the description below also for the pipettes, because you can never have too many pipettes. So I'm going to go ahead and start mixing the dry ingredients. Whenever you use SLSA, just be sure not to inhale too much. If you have to breathe, kind of walk away from it, because it will choke you up. It's a very fine powder, and when it's in your lungs, or when you breathe it in, it's not too fun. It's kind of almost the same precaution as if you use lye. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area, no kids, no pets, stuff like that. And my dogs are down the hall, so they're good. So I'm going to go ahead by using the SLSA, putting it in first, because after I get the other dry ingredients on top of it, it won't fluff up as much, and then I'll just go ahead and use my spatula spoon to kind of mix it in before I put it in the blender, because it will poof up on you if you're not too careful. Okay, so in goes the 1/3 cup of the SLSA. I don't know if you can see if it's wafting up or not, but it has fumes and they're pretty much going everywhere. And if you have to breathe, you can cover up your face with a shirt. That works too. But it does cause you to have a very bad choking sensation. Some people are worse than others when it comes to it. As example by. Okay. Now I just do the 1/3 cup because you don't need to put too much in your recipe, and if you're doing just a single, it'd probably be best to probably use about 2 tablespoons if you just do a 1 cup baking soda to 1/2 cup citric acid when you do this. I do 2 cups baking soda, 1 cup citric acid, and 1/4 cup of Epsom salt, just to kind of keep it to where I have enough to work with, especially when doing 2 colors. So I'm going to do... Oh no, never mind. I'm going to do a double batch, so I'm doing 4 cups baking soda, 2 cups citric acid, and then 1/2 cup of Epsom salt. My bad. Okay, get this in there. I think my camera might die here in a minute, so if there's a cut, you know why. And then I'll be right back. But until then, I'll just keep making. Alright, now I'm going to do my 2 cups citric acid. So when doing bath bombs, you do a 2-to-1 ratio of baking soda to citric acid. And what happens is the water, it reacts with the baking soda and citric acid, and that's what causes the foaming or the bubbles in your bath bombs, and that's also what helps in the reaction for the bubbling of the SLSA. But usually when you just use SLSA and it touches water, it still bubbles, like if you're making a bubble bar. So if you're doing a bubble bar, then you don't need all the extra ingredients, really. Okay, so in this, I'm going to go ahead and add my bentonite clay. I'm going to do a tablespoon, and I don't like to go too far over a tablespoon just because it mixes in fairly well, and it'll turn the bath bombs really gray if you use too much. Forgot to open it. This is what it looks like. It's kind of it's a light gray, but when wet it turns very dark gray. So when you mix it in, it'll turn a dark gray, but probably once it dries, it'll turn a nice white. But depending on how much you use, it probably won't turn a dark gray whenever it's wet. Sometimes you can't even tell that it's in there. So I'm just going to incorporate all the dry ingredients first before I move on to adding the wet ingredients. And I'll be right back. Okay, so my battery on my camera died, so I had to take a quick break real quick. Now I'm adding half a cup of Epsom salt to the mixture. Not all of the Epsom salt will actually go into the mixture right away from the strainer. Most of the crystals are really big and they don't quite want to go in. So I'll just take my spatula spoon, try to get as many of them in there as possible, and then I'll just pour the rest. I just used a spatula spoon just to kind of break up any that are stuck together because I don't want any lumps in this. And that should be it for the dry mixture. Yep, it is. So I'm just going to mix this up. That way the SLSA doesn't poof up in my face whenever I turn the blender on. And you start really low on the blender at first because it will poof because there's so many dry ingredients in this. Then let me get my little spatula mixing tool on there. Okay, now I'm going to add just a small bit of my oils and fragrance at a time, just because I don't want the mixture to get too lumpy too fast, but I probably will still need to add a little bit of rubbing alcohol in the very end, but just be very mindful of that. If it gets too wet, you can just always add more baking soda or baking powder, baking soda, and citric acid to it to dry it out more. But just be mindful of how much you're putting in there. So I'm going to add a little bit of this at a time, and then let me get, where did I put it? It's over here. Be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to add this little top to it. That way it doesn't poof out too much, and I'm going to cover this end with my hand. That way it won't escape that way, and in the back it doesn't really matter too much because there's stuff back there that'll keep it from going too crazy. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more of the oils. Turn it on low again. Alright, now I'm going to add the rest of the oils. And if you notice, there's still clumps in there, but as soon as I put the rest of the oils in there, I'll turn it on low for a little bit longer. And then I'll kick it up a few notches to see if I need to add any more moisture to it or not. Okay, turn it on again. Okay, now you want your bath bombs or bubble bath bombs to have the consistency of kind of wet sand, but not too wet, just to where it'll form in your hand like this, but and still kind of break away a little bit whenever you squeeze on it, because you're going to be putting them in the molds and they're going to be compacted. And also for the colorant that I'm going to be adding into it, which I forgot to mention, is Azure Blue Mica Powder I got from Wholesale Supplies Plus. They're actually very, very decent with their 2-ounce bottles. I recently ordered from them, and instead of getting my 2-ounce jars of, I think I got Rainforest Green and then some other kind of green and then a gingerbread brown, they sent me sample packs. So I contacted Susan from Wholesale Supplies Plus, who's actually very, very sweet, very nice. And I was expecting to, you know, be waiting a whole day before they replied to me. And surprisingly, she got back to me before I was even up this morning. So thank you so much, Susan. She's very, very nice. And hopefully, but when I get back from vacation, I'll be gone all next week, so the Etsy store will be down for the week. We're going to Barbados, so I will be closing the Etsy store down. If anybody can't see anything on there, that's why. So I'm going to take this out, and I think my camera battery is about to die again on me. I think I need to keep it on the charger more often. So if it dies, I'll be back, but until then, I will proceed on with making these. So what I'm doing is I'm going to separate this into 2 different batches. And it seems like it might be drying up on me just a tad. So I'm going to separate this into another bowl, mix it until it's a little bit more moist, and then I'm going to put the other batch in. After I take the white out, I'll put the blue in, mix it up until the blue's the right color that I like, and then we'll start from there. So I'll take a quick break real quick and let my camera battery charge. And then when it's charged and I have the colors mixed in and the bath bombs at the right consistency, I will come back to you guys. Okay, so now that I have it to the right consistency and I have it colored, the Azure Blue Mica actually does color it very well. It's a nice vibrant blue. I spilled it a little bit on the counter, and when the light hits it a certain way, it's kind of a green blue, but whenever it's in the bath bombs with the white base, it's a nice, a little more vibrant than a pastel blue, but it's a very, very nice blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do the same thing that I did with the Tahitian Romance ones, bath bombs. And that's do kind of like a camo or kind of like a swirling differential kind of color. I don't know if you can kind of see the gray from the Bentonite Clay that hasn't dried yet, and then the purplish pink, and then this was actually a dark purple that I used in this, but it turned out kind of a pink color, but I think it actually looks really good. And it smells really good too. This one, I can't remember what fragrances I used. I know that I used Tahitian Vanilla from, I think it's called Eternal Essence. I found them on, they have a website, but I found them on Amazon if you look up any kind of fragrance oils. So it's actually very, very good. And I got a couple other oils from them also, and I used up all my sandalwood. So let's get started. So what I do basically is I just drop a little bit into each one, and I'm not going to do like I did in the previous video and put any anything in the top of it. I'm just going to make a plain bath bomb. That's just it. That's the only thing I'm doing. So I just kind of scatter everything out and just kind of randomize how I do it. And then I have the plate in the center just to kind of catch anything that drops down onto it, because I don't really want to try to mix up any of my colors. And what I'll do is I'll make this first one with you guys, and then I'll make the other ones and speed up the video. That way you're not sitting through it. But make sure whenever you're doing bath bombs that you always pack it down as tight as you can get it. If you're doing a single color, then you can probably just do the whole scoop, kind of just scoop it up into the bowl and smush it together. But with multiple colors, you kind of have to make sure that you don't get them too mixed up, because if you mix them up, sometimes the colors won't be as prominent in the finished product. So that'll be good for that one. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to start with white in that one, and then you go to blue, and then back to white, and then the blue. And you don't have to be precise with the colors. I mean, no, you don't have to do equal amounts and stuff like that. It's all about how you imagine it, or how you want it to look in your mind, how you want it to come out. Just pack it down, and then once you get it flush, start building up a little bit. Once you get it flush, which it's not anymore, but once you get it flush with that line, then just start building it up, kind of mounting it on there. And then that way, whenever you go to close your bath bomb, you have enough in there. Because if you don't, then your bath bomb will not be as dense as it needs to be, and it'll just break apart on you. Alright, so now we're gonna bring these two together. And you will have some coming out of the sides, don't worry. That's why I have the plate there for at the end or during the making of them. I'll grab some from the plate if I feel like I want like kind of a mixed looking color. Just make sure they're on there tight. And then I use the silicone end of the silicone spatula, spoon spatula thing. And just whack it until you hear kind of a hollow sound. Okay, so that one's good. And this one. So we're going to lift off. And that one turned out good. And then what I do is I like to smooth out the edges, just because it makes putting it in the cellophane a whole lot easier. That's what this one looks like. It's a nice white and blue, and it smells really good. It smells very, very clean. So this one's going to be more of the men's bath bomb. Because it's the black tie fragrance for men from Wholesale Supplies. And then the other ones that I made, the Tahitian Romance, is for the ladies. So I'm going to speed the rest of this up, and that way we can get through all of the bath bombs, and then I'll be back with you whenever they're done.